Hello, I'm the producer, Jacob Cook, and Uptalk is a weekly, upbeat, uplifting, forward-looking resource show, offering expert perception and advice on personal growth and development. Uptalk will feature guests with inspiring stories and messages filled with informative, life-changing insights. The delivery of this information is through a blend of common sense and practical application. Uptalk will be a big assist in satisfying the hunger for knowing the path to success. And now to our hosts, Lou Vickery and Jason Wil.
All right. Well, welcome to Uptalk. I'm Lou Vickery, and what's your name?
The Jason Wil.
The Jason Wil. Yeah, I see your signs all over these billboards.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm really elevating my game
But
here.
what are all those arrows sticking in them?
I got a lot of fans.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
That's good. Hey,
Yeah.
we're so excited you're along with us today. Do you know, we were talking off air about nothing. Do you know the toughest job to do?
Don't give us away. I mean,
Well,
they don't have to know we talk about nothing.
hold it.
They're probably assuming we're like solving the world's
You and I
problems.
talk about nothing, but we have guests that, boy, do they talk about stuff.
Yeah, we were debating which cure for the we're going to use.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, because we got a couple. So, yeah, you probably want to edit that out.
Well, let me tell you, the reason I will mention nothing, it's the toughest job you can do.
There's nothing?
Nothing. You know why?
Why?
Because you can't stop and rest. Figure that one out.
Okay.
I thought you'd get a chuckle out of that one. Well, let's move on. Hey, you know we got Dr. Wilmer Baker with us today.
Yeah, we need some intellectuals on this show for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Baker, I mean, we have to really stretch back with all his background. But
We don't have enough time on the show.
But currently, he is the executive director of the Alabama Medical Educational Consortium. Now, that sounds important to me.
Yeah.
Plus,
I would
he's
never-
an associate
I don't belong
dean.
there.
I probably do a great job with this one. He's associate dean of clinical resources of osteopathic medicine over in Dothan, Alabama. But I'll let him tell us about
Wow.
that.
I just
You know
hope his
what? When he
IQ.
first- but let me tell you
What?
this.
You're so excited. It's the backdrop. It is the backdrop.
It's our new
You
backdrop.
are just totally jazzed up.
As we would say down south, you done did good.
I know. I'm so proud of myself. I'm trying to contain my excitement.
Excitement? Yeah. Well, it looks great. And thank you.
It looks official.
You mean we're official?
No, not
By
you.
the way, I'm hanging my glasses.
Not
right
you,
now.
me. But
Well,
whatever.
We're going to have.
You are by association.
I tell you what, we're excited to have Dr. Baker with us.
We are.
We're going to bring him up and let him talk to us a little bit about this great program that they have. I mean, they've got doctors all over the state of Alabama that I've worked with. And I'd just like to know how many doctors he's probably got out there that's got his name, probably on some plaque somewhere. You know?
Yeah. We're in like public restrooms.
Yeah.
You know, like rest areas.
He's in public offices.
Yeah.
Doctor's office.
A little bit of a difference, but not really. I mean, we still get a lot of visibility.
Well, I tell you, one of the greatest signs I've ever seen was in a public restroom. Right?
Have we heard this one before, Jacob?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you anyway. It said there's only two kinds of days, good and better. I like that.
Oh, that is positive.
Yeah, I really did, and you know
Yeah.
what? Just about every book I've written, I got that in there somewhere because I like it. You know.
Public restroom philosophy.
That's it. You know what? Maybe that's the title of my next book.
Wow.
Public-
Another book.
Huh? Let's go to a break and get Dr. Baker up here. All right. Hey, you're watching Uptalk. I'm Lou Vickery. He's Jason Wil.
He
We'll be
nailed
right
that. He
back.
didn't say listen. That's the first time ever you didn't say listen.
I didn't, did I?
That's awesome.
Anyway, you are watching. We'll be back.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Uptalk. I'm Lou Vickery, and now I'd like to introduce our very special guest with us on this beautiful day. Every day's beautiful, isn't it, Doc?
Right.
Dr. Wilmer Baker, how are you?
I'm good. Thank
There you go. Hey, we're really excited to have you.
And I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
We were excited because, you know, I've heard so much over the last few years about the program that you've been engaged in, AMEC, the Alabama Medicine Educational Consortium. And I want you to tell us a little bit about that. But before we do that, How about backing us up and tell us what you've done over these, last 60 years or so?
I was born and raised in Atmore.
Oh, and from that standpoint, we know each other well, right?
I was born and raised across the street from where your granddad lived.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I attended school in Atmore, grade school and high school. I then went off to college. I went to Howard College. I graduated from Howard College and then went into the Marine Corps.
Yes.
I went through Quantico, I went through Pensacola, and then to the fleet. I was privileged to fly in a fighter squadron, an attack squadron. I flew helicopters for a period of time. I flew multi-engine internationally for a number of years with the Air National Guard.
Right.
I was a Baptist I am a Baptist minister.
And you married some of my relatives?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yes. Cannonball Esri.
Yeah, that's right.
And I remember that experience, a wonderful experience of many, many years ago.
Yes, it was many years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, probably 55 or 60, huh?
Yes. I am still involved in the church, very much so.
Right.
I am, as you mentioned, the Associate Dean for the new College of Medicine in Dothan that we have developed.
I got to stop you right there and ask the question. You went from flying to minister to being involved in the medical field. How did that come about?
I got off active duty, went back to school. I developed a doctorate. I got a PhD. I became a faculty person at the University of South Alabama,
Right.
the second faculty in the Department of Family Medicine.
How about that?
I taught behavioral science. I retired from the University of South Alabama after 25 years. Found myself quite miserable in about a month. So went to work for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation in Alabama. And then out of that experience, we began the journey of developing the new College of Medicine in Dothan. There are steps before you get to Dothan that we were engaged in, really neat experiences. And whenever you're ready, I can talk about that.
Well, we're going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about it. Is that
All
fair
right.
enough?
That's good enough.
Our special guest, Dr. Wil E Baker, with us, and I'm Lou Vickery, and you're watching Uptalk. We'll be right back after these messages. All right, welcome back to Uptalk. I'm Lou Vickery, and we're visiting with Dr. Wil E Baker. He's the Executive Director of the Alabama Medical Educational Consortium. A consortium, when I think of consortium, that means a lot of nice guys got together and formed something, right?
Right.
Tell us about it.
First, the development of AMEC, the Alabama Medical Education Consortium. We started with a few, and we increased in number to many.
Okay.
The purpose of AMEC was to respond to a need that we have in Alabama, physician manpower. So it was that response to those needs that AMEC developed.
And basically what you would say is some rural areas that probably needed some help. Would that be fair? A fair question?
Yes, our goal was to respond to rural health needs, access to health care.
Right.
We started in Foley, Alabama, and we started with 4 students. We started with what we call a core site. We developed 24 core sites in Alabama over time. And these core sites were designed to provide year 3, year 4 clinical experiences for a medical student. Our first effort in the development of AMEC, the Alabama Medical Education Consortium,
Right.
first effort was to develop a clinical network that could train year 3, year 4 medical students and meet the standards of the accrediting bodies. So we started with 4 students. We wound up the AMEC pipeline that we called a medical school without walls with 324 physicians.
Holy cow.
And of the 324 physicians in practice today, we have 102 of those physicians in practice in Alabama in 36 locations.
That is, now, how long did it take you to do that? Or what period of time did it take you to develop that?
We started the journey in '04.
'04.
I retired from the university, went to work with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, had a committee with RWJ that had to do with physician manpower.
Right.
And that committee, 2 of us went to Governor Riley in '04.
Governor Pat Riley at the time. Was Governor
Bob
of State.
Riley.
Bob Riley. Pat
Right.
Pat Riley was a basketball coach and a player. I'm sorry, but Governor Bob Riley.
We went to Governor Riley and we told him of an idea that we developed with RWJ. And the idea had to do with community-based education.
Mm-hmm.
Let me back up and
Sure.
talk about medical education in Alabama and then come to this
That's fine.
last statement.
That's good.
Alabama has been very active in developing physician manpower for the state. The Alabama Legislature in 1859,
We were mere children then. If you,
that's right, we were younger, and in bits and pieces. You're right. But the legislature approved the first College of Medicine for Alabama in 1859 in Mobile.
okay.
And it was a department of the University of Alabama. It moved from Mobile in 1859 to Tuscaloosa in 1915. And then it stayed in Tuscaloosa from 1915 to 1945.
Mm-hmm.
And we have today UAB,
Right.
which is in Birmingham.
Right.
When you think in terms of those years, 158 years to today, to
Right.
2019. I think that's about right.
Right.
Could be
Well, I'd say,
157.
no, I'd say you're pretty close.
Thank you. But that model has been in place. It's the university model. Started in Mobile, went to Tuscaloosa, went to Birmingham, remains in Birmingham until this day. In 2017, an organization from the federal government evaluated Alabama as far as physician manpower is concerned. And what they found was that 62 of the 67 counties in Alabama are underserved or partially underserved.
62 of them.
62 out of 67. Now imagine the 158 years now.
Yeah.
Imagine the resources that went into that model. And it is a good model, but it has not provided Alabama with the physician manpower needed by the people
Right.
of Alabama.
Uh-huh.
And so as a response to the needs of Alabama, we developed AMEC. So AMEC is a medical school without walls.
Now, when you say without walls, explain that for our viewers just a little bit, okay?
AMEC is a pipeline with all components to medical education. And so when we use the idea without walls, it means it's got all the pieces, and there is a system that moves a student from basic science to clinical science to graduate medical education.
Okay.
Has all the pieces as far as medical education is concerned. When we were with Governor Riley, he asked two questions. He said, how do you get physicians into Alabama? And the answer to that question was grow your own.
Sure.
And so we started with AMEC, and it was this pipeline that we put together. Along the way, we had an event to occur and had an opportunity to move to developing a medical school with walls. So in 2010, we opened the medical school with walls in Dothan, the Alabama College of Osteopathic Medicine. So we moved from being a medical school without walls to a medical school with walls. We moved from having 324 students who became doctors to having 648 medical students. And we have graduated in the medical school with walls. We have graduated 3 classes. We've graduated 459 physicians.
Will a lot of those stay in the state, or will they go other? But is that all doctors, or is that varied people in the medical
all
field?
are doctors, and we hope with the next question that was asked by Governor Riley, we hope to keep many of them within the state by answering that question.
Right. And the second question?
Okay, the first question was, how do you get physicians into Alabama? The second question was, how do you keep them in Alabama?
Right.
And the way you keep them is by developing graduate medical education programs. That's residency programs. So we started the journey in 2016 to develop 12 new programs, a total of 400 and a little more new positions. So to how you get physicians into Alabama? Grow your own. How do you keep physicians in Alabama? Get them into graduate programs, residency programs.
Right.
We started in 2016, and we have one internal medicine program now in Dothan at Southeast Health, a large program in its 3rd year, so it has 39 residents. We have a second program in Foley in family medicine. It's in its 3rd year, and it has 24 residents. We have a program that has just had its site visit by the accrediting body in Fairhope. It will be internal medicine and have 12 residents per year. We're developing another program in Mobile with a combination of Alta Point and Spring Hill. We are now recruiting for a new program we have in Florence, Alabama, 12 residents. We are developing in Gunnersville a family medicine program, in Huntsville a family medicine program, in Anniston a psychiatry program, in Montgomery Jackson Hospital internal medicine program.
Holy cow. So you got all these programs there, they're kind of in infancy, right? That you're developing around the state.
Do what?
They're, I said in their infancy.
They're in the beginnings, yes.
That's right. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the new mission that you've moving toward. You said residency. We're going to talk about the residency program,
Great.
okay?
Yes.
Dr. Wilmer Baker, our special guest here on Up Talk, and we'll be right back with Dr. Baker after these words. You're watching Up Talk. I'm Lou Vickery. Dr. Wilmer Baker, our special guest. Well, welcome back to Up Talk. I'm Lou Vickery, and our special guest, Dr. Wilmer Baker. Doc, before we went to break, we were talking about some things that are taking place in new programs, but there are some significant changes that are taking place in the medical field, in particular what you're doing in the state of Alabama. Let's talk about those a little bit.
When we think in terms of a fundamental change of value added to what is, it's community-based education. When we looked at the history of medical education in Alabama, we viewed a university-based process for many, many years. Alabama has responded to that, and we have in place programs like UAB. We have branch campuses like Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, Huntsville. We still have the need, though, for physician manpower in spite of having those good systems in place.
Right.
When you think in terms of the University of South Alabama, wonderful school, and have been in place for over 45 years now. The need in Alabama for physician manpower has been supported by the legislature through the years by the development of UAB, by the development of USA, by the development of the branch campuses. But we still have the need.
Right.
When you look at the HRSA report of 2017, it says that Alabama has the 62 counties out of the 67 that are underserved or partially underserved. So we have a great system that's university-based, but we have a need.
Right.
And AMEC is an effort to address those needs, add value to what is. And AMEC is going to do that, it's doing that, with community-based education. We started our program in Foley, Alabama. We had 4 students, and those 4 students spent their 3rd year of medical school, the 4th year of medical school in Foley. They did the clerkships, outpatient, inpatient studies for 2 years in that location, community-based education. Then they left the community-based setting and went to residency training somewhere in the country, and of those that we have graduated, the 324, the 459, they have gotten some of the best residency programs in the country. Now, when you say, how do you keep them in Alabama?
That was right on the tip of my tongue.
All right.
They go off to residency somewhere else. There's in there a chance that they may stay someplace else?
Probably 70% will stay within a reasonable distance from where they train, like 75 to 100 miles. So that brings on the reason for having the graduate medical education. Where you train for 3 years, you will stay, tend to stay, 70%. will
So,
tend to
so
stay.
basically, then the need is to try to establish more local residency programs, right?
The need is to develop more residency programs. You have to remember, when you develop a residency program, there are building blocks that enable you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the building blocks that you need to develop residency programs is a pipeline of students. You need to have those that you recruit to your program. And if you have medical students in your hospital,
Right.
then you have students that you can begin working with 2 years before they are ready for residency. You can pick and choose the recruits for your
What-
program.
So you got to get a head start there, then, huh?
The year 3, year 4 community-based education allows for that.
Interesting.
Let me give you a piece of information that may help to validate that. I mentioned earlier we had 102 who are in practice in 36 locations in Alabama.
Right.
Of that number, 72 trained in Alabama programs. The other 30 left the state. Residency programs outside Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
but they came back to Alabama.
Oh, okay.
And so my belief is at this time, those 30 came back to Alabama because of the year 3, year 4 community-based education
Oh,
they
okay.
received in medical school.
Well, that is interesting. Dr. Wilmer Baker, our special guest with us here on Uptalk. And as we start to wind down a little bit, I want you to think in terms of how does the general public, or can the general public get involved? What is there available just for, folks like ourselves? Or there's something way that we can assist or be involved ourselves? Other than being a patient, right?
Right. When you think in terms of the status quo, we have lived with patterns of history that have not changed much.
Mm-hmm.
What we have brought to the table with the new AMEC, ACOM, is a new model. And the idea of developing core sites in different places within the state means that medical students get to train in local scenarios in the state.
All right, there you go. We talk a little bit about how the general public can get involved, and you have some thoughts about that. What would they be?
When we think in terms of the core sites where we have students, the students are there for 2 years, year 3, year 4 of their medical school education. And they are experiencing the community. They are experiencing your location. And if the experience for the medical students is good, then you're more likely to have them come back to where they had a good experience. So you welcome the medical students. You can be sensitive to their presence and what it is they're doing in your local hospital. We have a total of 30 core sites, but it includes part of the Florida Panhandle, the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We have over 1,200 preceptors, teachers in those locations. We have experienced some of the kinds of experiences as far as education is concerned that enables our students to match to some of the best programs in the country.
How about that?
We have had a 99% match rate, which is very good.
Well, it can't get much better, right?
I don't think so. Not a lot.
Oh, that's good. Well, you know how much we've enjoyed having you. Will you come back
Thank
and be
you.
with us again?
Yes.
Well,
I
we-
would be delighted
We
to.
want to do. We really do want to express our appreciation, not only for coming and being with us, but for what you've done with this program, this AMEC program. And I have numerous members of the legislature that we visit with, and they. I tell you what, you've made a lot of good friends there, and you make good friends when you do the job right, don't you?
You do. You do.
Dr. Wilmer Baker, thank you so very much.
And thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do us for today. Well, Jason's coming back. We're going to get Jason back, and I'm going to spend a few minutes with him. He's always got some great words of wisdom, right, Jacob? Jacob Cook, our cameraman, producer. He's a jack of all trades and a master of many. At least he likes to tell everybody that. But we'll be right back after this break. And again, thanks to Dr. Wilmer Baker.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Up Talk. I'm Lou Vickery, and Jason's back with us, Mr. Jason.
Yeah.
With his fan club.
Yes.
Your post office boxes. I
don't have one yet. I'm going to get one.
Oh, you're going to get one?
Yeah.
Oh,
For
I
my
thought
fan
you
mail.
already was filling it up.
No.
There you
No,
go.
I haven't been contacted by anybody on Facebook either.
Oh, you haven't? Nobody on Facebook loves
No.
you either, huh? Well, somebody please contact Jason.
I understand people are busy. It's, it is what it is.
Boy, wasn't that a great interview?
It was a great interview. It really was. Super informative.
Fantastic background, huh? All the things.
Really impressive. I mean, we've had some really impressive guests, but this was really, really good.
Have something special.
A lot of
Well,
accolades. It really makes you feel bad about yourself. We better get busy doing something. I mean, you've done some stuff. You're good at tennis and stuff. But I need to figure some things out
Oh,
because
yeah?
I need to build up my resume.
Well, you can get you a plane, start flying. I mean,
All right. Well, it's
he
a
flew
start.
helicopters, he flew planes,
Yeah,
he
right.
flew this, he flew that.
Well, maybe I could be a minister.
Yeah, well, I've seen worse. I'm sorry.
All right, enough about me. Let's talk about the good Dr.
You have to
Baker.
understand, we had a bunch of ministers in our family.
Yeah,
Yep. We had a whole group of them, but we won't go there.
yeah. I'm just, I'm just trying to get the low-hanging fruit. I figured,
That's it. Well,
Learn how to fly.
Jacob wonders where I got my booming voice. My grandfather, he'd get up in the pulpit and, he didn't need a mic.
he didn't.
No, I can remember the windows. Seriously, when he'd get going, the windows would rattle. so I guess that's where it came from.
Yeah, I guess so.
But anyway, tell us about what you picked up from Dr. Baker.
Well, it was a very informative interview. I thought that what we were really doing with this show is highlighting some issues, highlighting the great demand for skilled physicians in the state of Alabama. And we've had, Representative McMillan, I think, was talking about, how they're trying to serve rural communities across Alabama and the initiatives that are going on in the state. But it's interesting to hear the roots of all this, how long it's been going on, and yet how strong the demand still is. As of 2016, 62 counties out of 67 underserved.
Right.
So that's pretty eye-opening. And what they're doing to solve the problems with, the medical schools without walls, I thought was fascinating. So, and the plan to grow them from within, and then the retention plan is really this community education program gets them ingrained in the community, so they kind of plant some roots. And whether they go on a little bit or not to further education or take a career, they end up kind of coming back and settling back in Alabama. So it's genius.
You're right, and the fact, the culture being that the people being involved in the community, the doctors, the resident doctors being involved in the community, bringing them into the fold, making them feel at home. I think that's some real pluses there.
Yeah. Well, they talk about, and one thing we didn't talk about was that I was curious to hear about, and maybe this is for another time, but it's you've got a lot of physicians out there I know that, maybe can't afford. So maybe the economics of it is, an issue. And I just wonder, having this University Without Walls initiative, if that helps them kind of further their education or even be able to take advantage of a dream to be a medical professional and not have,
a big debt base.
Yeah, or just be saddled with a bunch of debt. So it was interesting.
Well,
to explore that.
I really think that, and I've heard so many great things about the program, particularly about the hospital that's in Dothan, about the work they've done there, and and that's great stuff. I have relatives in that part, and they've first wanted to talk to me about it. And by the way, I had mentioned this. Dr. Baker was inducted into the Hall of Fame in our hometown of Atmore last year.
Oh, wow.
So
that is impressive.
We're appreciative of. I think people like him. I get excited because age is just a number. You think about it, age is just a number, and I'm gonna brag a little bit.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it's your show. I'll allow it. I will allow it.
Past Saturday, and I win first place. There's 42 adults out there, and I'm probably the second oldest one on the court.
You do brag on your tennis game quite a lot. I
do.
will say that.
I'm
You're
proud of
very
it.
braggadocious.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I found Dr. Baker to be a little more humble than you are. But
you think I should learn something from him about being humble?
No, I think you're a very diligent public servant, and that's, in your own way.
In my own way, yeah. Beating some up on a tennis court, that's being diligent.
Yeah, shaming people on the tennis court, whereas Dr. Baker's saving lives and doing all these amazing things. But
it wasn't a very good analogy, is what you're trying to do. Right? All right. Well, what else did you pick up?
I just, I think for the audience, because this is an entrepreneurial show, a business show, a show about people that succeed in whatever field they're in, whether it's business or medicine, science, but the commitment to service. A lot of the people that we have on this show, from physical, personal trainers to medical doctors, they've gotten to where they are, or they have become people that are really interesting interviews because they're dedicated to serving others.
That's right, sure.
And I just think that's an important thing. I think that's kind of goes back to what the roots of Blue TV is all about. It's about being a service-oriented business person or professional in whatever field you're in.
Right.
Not getting there by any means necessary, but by getting there through, acts of service. So I think that would be the biggest takeaway from today's interview. And that, Dr. Baker's, his whole life's been dedicated to serving people, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down. So, that's amazing.
It is.
Most people want to work until they retire. It's that, I'll probably butcher this, but maybe you've heard. It's like that 40 rule?
Mm-hmm.
You work 40 hours a week.
40 for 40 years.
For 40 years.
For $40,000
yeah,
in the bank.
Yeah. So, it's like...
That's a rule. I know about that rule.
I just feel like, hey, listen, we are capable of so much more that we give ourselves credit for. And so hearing folks like Dr. Baker, having them come on the show and hearing all the things they've accomplished in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring.
It really is. And we're so appreciative he took time to come visit with us. It's just an outstanding program. And I tell you what, it's no doubt in my mind they won't get it to where it'll be just the reverse. 62 counties will have the right kind of service, maybe 5 won't. And it won't take long to get to that level.
Yeah, it's nice to know we got people like Dr. Baker looking out for us and our folks.
All right, that's it for today. We'll be back. We got to come back and have a little recap, right? because you got to tell all the great folks, unless you want to do it now, about our wonderful book and your great real estate company and all the things. You want to do that now?
I don't know. I mean, Jacob's the producer. Should we ask him or?
Yeah. No, he wants to take a break.
Oh, he doesn't want to
There
take a
goes
break.
the T sign.
Yeah,
he looks like a coach on the
He's gotta
sideline,
pee.
huh?
Bathroom break. All right. Right after these words.
All right, welcome back to Up Talk. I'm Lou Vickery, and there's Jason Wil. And Jason,
Yes.
hey, it's time for a little bit of a call to action. We need to
We need to plug some products because this is, these kind of things, these perks don't pay for themselves.
Oh, they don't.
This big, beautiful banner.
Yeah,
Look at that thing.
It is neat. Yeah.
It's awesome.
What's the name of this show?
All right, let's get back to me now and talk about real estate and why it is a great time. Mortgage rates are at record lows. Have you seen that on the news?
Yeah.
So it's a great time to buy or refi. So my wife just happens to be in the mortgage business. So if you want to refi, of course, if you want to resell, I'm your guy. And if you'd like to get a second home, I mean, we've got beautiful waterfront properties, golf course properties, not so much tennis.
We got all kind of tennis courts around here.
That's like, being a kind of a cat person, I think.
Yeah.
If you're into tennis, you're into cats.
I'm glad when you say waterfront property. Ours is the real stuff.
Yeah.
When I lived in Florida, they'd dig a ditch and put water in it and call it waterfront property.
There go our Florida viewers. Thanks so much. Well, we had 2 there, and now they're gone. All right, where can they go to get a copy of one of your fine books?
Our book, Motivators for Salespeople Destined for Greatness.
Yeah.
They can go to Amazon if they want to, but if they'd like to have an autographed copy, hey, you and I'll be happy to autograph it for them, right? They
Yeah.
do that at louvickerybooks.com.
LouVickeryBooks.com.
Yeah, and I got a couple more coming too.
When he turns that camera towards me, that means you're
I'm out
done.
of the
You're
picture.
done. You
I'm
are
done.
finished.
I'm history. Okay.
Yeah.
Take us out of-
JasonWillRealEstate.com.
Take us out of here.
Oh, with the
Go ahead and
the
close
whole
it out. You want to close it out?
with the whole lip, the thing about the
Yeah,
lips.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
well,
I haven't been paying
gotta
attention
do-
to that. You
All
got
right, here
you.
we go. Hey, we really appreciate you being with us. It's always a pleasure
Like
having
you, as in singular. We appreciate you.
Well, only one at a time. That's the way it is. All right, until we meet again, keep a smile on your face, keep happiness in your heart, keep optimism on your tongue. I don't care where you are, you'll be a winner.
Oh, that's good.
Hi, I'm Dan Vega, and thank you for watching our channel. I want to take a second to tell you about a resource that's helping thousands of people across the country, Blue University. Blue University is the premier online business school for entrepreneurs and business leaders. If you find yourself in a day-to-day grind where you've lost your joy or you're just tired of struggling, then check out blue.university. That's BLU.university. I can promise that you receive nothing short of a multi-million-dollar education. And if you want a completely different life in 3 to 6 months and a way to create wealth in 5 years or less, then again, check it out. That's BLU.university. Find out why blue is the new color of success. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel or to give us a good rating, but that's only if you see value. And when you do receive value, make sure to share it with someone else. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.